London, AP, face masks will no longer be mandatory in public places and schools in England, and COVID-19 passports will be dropped for large events as infections level off in large parts of the country, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson said Wednesday. Johnson told lawmakers that the restrictions were being eased because government scientists believed it was likely that the surge of infections prompted by the highly contagious Omicron variant has now peaked nationally. While hospitals in northern England are still under pressure because of high caseloads, Johnson said hospital admissions and patients in intensive care units elsewhere in England were stabilising or falling. The government will no longer advise people to work from home, and beginning next Thursday, mandatory COVID-19 passes will not be required to gain entry to large-scale events. Compulsory face masks will be scrapped in classrooms starting Thursday as well, and from next week they will not be legally required anywhere in England. We will trust the judgment of the British people and no longer criminalise anyone who chooses not to wear one, Johnson said. The restrictions were introduced in December to slow the rapid spread of the Omicron variant and buy time for the population to get their booster vaccine shot. Johnson said Wednesday that more than 90% of those over 60 in the UK have now had their booster shot. Official figures showed that COVID-19 infections have dropped in most parts of the UK for the first time since early December, with 94,432 new positive cases recorded on Tuesday. The requirement for those infected to self-isolate for 5 full days remains, but Johnson said that measure will also end in the coming weeks. He said while the self-isolation rule expires on March 24, he will seek to scrap it earlier if the virus data continues to improve. As COVID becomes endemic, we will need to replace legal requirements with advice and guidance, urging people with the virus to be careful and considerate of others, he said. Nonetheless, Johnson urged people to remain cautious in the last weeks of winter and stressed that the pandemic was not over. The news was welcomed by businesses, especially those relying on workers repopulating city centers, as well as hospitality and tourism. But some said officials need to give more details about their plans to cope with the coronavirus in the longer term. Johnson's spokesman said the government would publish such a plan shortly. There's a vital need now for greater consistency in how we live with the virus in the longer term. Swinging back and forth between restrictions and normality has been damaging, said Matthew Fell, Chief Policy Director of the Confederation of British Industry. Scotland and Wales, which set their own public health rules, have also announced similar easing of restrictions. Britain has the second worst pandemic death toll in Europe after Russia, with over 153,000 confirmed virus-related deaths. Follow all AP stories on the pandemic at https://appnews.com/help/coronavirus pandemic.